Okay. Lovely. Okay, sorry for the very brief technical hiccup. So we're doing the physical range role quest today, and then after that, we're gonna go ahead and try to level up our black mage. Spoilers, if you haven't done the content, I personally haven't done this content before, and I'd like to go ahead and see what we can get out of it, and see if we can go ahead and really enjoy it. But if your heart cries out for one to blame, let it be me. The beast was slain at my behest, for it was the only way. Oh, kid mad. I honestly don't blame him. He doesn't really understand. To me, my character just killed his brother. That's that's got to be tough to go ahead and like process, honestly. No, no, you're wrong. You killed him, murdered him. I hate you. And there he goes. I've inspired another youth. Oh. Esse, what are you doing here? Searching for Tanbo, though clearly you found him first. The monster was his older brother. As you may have guessed, Tombo gave chase the moment it ran off. I beg you, forgive him for his outburst. He begs. His brother, it was all he had left. Their father was conscripted by the Empire and was, regrettably, not among those returned to us in the recent exchange of prisoners. The hope might be that one day, that the hope they might be one day reunited was their only comfort when the viceroy still ruled. I can only imagine how they felt when she walked into, a shadow of her former self. Tetsuya may have had no memories of the monster she was, but her victims still see her in their dreams. Nevertheless, like many, the brothers prayed your mercy would see their family restored. But then they learned of her death, of their father's absence, deprived of hope and of hate all at once. They had nothing. Ah, my apologies for rambling. No. It was rather a enlightening tale. I spared the woman who brought him pain, and look what his and took his brother who brought him comfort. I I would hate me too. I swear, I will set things right for Tanbo, for all the people of Doma. Please return home and be safe. Let us return to the Dominant Enclave. This ordeal has given me much to consider. Okay, so let's go ahead and head back to the Dominant Enclave. I owe you a great debt for your timely assistance, and an apology for I've made you an executioner in young Tanbo's eyes. Would that I had been the one to he witnessed cut down the beast his brother had become. But we haven't the time to dwell on regrets and what should have been. No, we need to take action, and after hearing of Tanbo and his brother, I believe I know what must be done. A great many of our brothers and sisters will return to us in the prisoner exchange, but even so, there are those that yet remain lost to us. Meanwhile, Yotsuyo, who was directly responsible for much of our people's suffering, was never held to account for her crimes. In death, she claimed vengeance for her suffering at the hands of her brother, but it came at the expense of justice for her countless victims. People of Doma, who have every right to resent me for failing them in their grief. But what of those who cannot bring themselves to do even that, who are left alone with their anger and their pain? It may well give way to despair, and then they would share the same fate of Tombo's brother, yes. Which is why we must needs consider who else might be in his anguish ere we find ourselves behest by more beasts. Avo began making the rounds out of the villages to inquire after those whom their neighbors believe are more distressed of late. Very good, and I and the other shinobi shall continue our search for the blasphemy which sets these events in motion. And you, my friend, we will have need of your talents again ere long. Rest assured, we will keep you appraised of our findings. Alright, sweet. Lord Ian's extended absence from the Enclave does not sit well with Yugiri. When the kami answer. Strange. Static. We have yet to ascertain the whereabouts of the blasphemy from Asari, but for a blessing, we've received no reports of others that have turned. Lord Hien, for his part, has made a well-endowed effort to go about the villages and converse with his subjects directly. I suspect his constant presence has served to allay the people's fears. As one might expect, he has ever been dedicated and diligent, but I fear he's always been away over long. I thought to go and visit what should have been his last station. Sorry, might I ask you to accompany me? Thank you. I am sure there is no cause for concern, but nevertheless, I should be glad to find him quickly. Static, Yugiri, my apologies if I gave you cause for concern. Assessing the state of affairs here in Asari has proven difficult. To put it simply, the people, one and all, refuse to speak with me. They simply bow their heads and turn away at my approach. Knowing the blasphemy originated here, I cannot help wonder if that has aught to do with their silence. Perhaps you could attempt to engage with the people in my stead. Surely they have no cause to deny the two of you. I should hope not. Nevertheless, I will don a disguise, and lest I draw undue attention, come, Static. Let us see what we can discover. Thank you, both of you. Okay, so let's see what a disguise she is cooking up. That's right, the blasphemy was born of a young woman here in Asari. Tragic, really. Every day she prayed for the safe return of her husband, but it was not to be. If I am to be honest, I fear the loss drove her poor stepmother mad. Kisei has always been a devout believer in the kami and their blessings, but she somehow convinced herself that Minato has become one. These illusions have a grieving parent, obviously, but an alarming number of people have come to share in her belief. Heresy is what it is. Oh, that's not a good sign. Okay, so let's see here. Let's talk to this person too. A blasphemy? You are mistaken, my friend. Our village was visited not by a monster, but a kami. Izanami. Where Lord Hien is cold and callous, she offers us boundless compassion and love. Also, not a good sign. I owe great debt to Lord Hien. If not for him, I would still be fighting under the imperial standard. But the village suffered dearly under the occupation. What's more, our lord failed to punish the viceroy for her crimes, and failed to reunite many with their loved ones. I understand why some would think poorly of him, even if I do not. This is painting a certain picture, I fear. Let's go back to Lord Hien over here. Not much of a disguise, Yugiri, but A for effort. I see. Little wonder that they would refuse to confide in me. The belief held by some that this blasphemy is a kami, however, is quite concerning. I have to agree there, Hien. Izanami presides over life and death. She gave birth to the nation of Doma and ushers the souls of the departed unto the land of the dead. I trust you understand what it would mean to deny them a source of hope in such dark times, even one such as this. The villagers also claim that Kaisi can speak with the dead. In fact, she will be holding a gathering to demonstrate her powers ere long. A perfect opportunity to gauge the extent of their fanaticism. Not for me, of course. My presence would draw undue attention. Might I ask you both to attend in my stead? Her followers will be gathering in the tavern. Come. Oh no. She praying. Oh, spirits of Asari, I beseech you, lend me your voice and let your presence be known. Cross the veil and be among us once more. Akitsu! Father? Still tending the nets like I taught you? Yes, Father, every day. Thanks to you, we never want for fish. Our bellies are never empty. I am proud to be your son. I was always too embarrassed to tell you before, and I am proud to have been your father. May you ever be blessed by the sea's bounty. It hurts. Oh shit! I double clicked. God dang it. Sorry. He is in terrible pain, my child. Those who have cheated death's design yet live. It has disrupted the natural order, and the spirits suffer for it. What must we do to ease their pain? Give me money. Fear not. Izanami shall put all to rights. She will claim the souls not long for this world and deliver them unto hereafter. When her work is finished, your father's spirit and all the others will find peace. Somehow I think maybe not. Uh-oh, it's little Tanbo. Can you find my father? Can you help me speak with him? Kise, can you commune with my husband? What about my family? Help me, Kise, please. That was rather interesting. So this Kisei's ability is all that she claims? A young man spoke with his dearly departed father through her? I find that rather hard to believe. Even so, those in attendance appeared quite convinced, my lord. And I suspect a great many of the villagers I've spoken with with recently are as well. Everywhere I went, the people were in so much pain, and there was nothing I could do or say to give them solace. Yet for all their anguish, there has not been a single report of villagers turning since the incident with Tanbo's brother. Which can only mean the word of Kisei and her ability to speak with the deceased has spread. The belief we can commune with our loved ones in death is a comfort far beyond my power to provide. Though I fail to see how the people would abide the kami claiming innocent lives to restore order. She comes! Izanami! The blasphemy? Here? This can't be good. Lord Ian, the kami! She appeared as if from nowhere, and in the next instant this poor man was... Oh no. So we were too late. It's that guy. Oh, crap. I spoke with him before in Asari. You recognize him then? Curious that he and the other blasphemy's first victims were former conscripts. What could the fiend be after, I wonder? It does not become a lord. It does not become my lord to speak ill of the kami. Oh, that steely gaze, man. Oh, I understand that you are come to investigate the rumors of a monster born in our village. A blasphemy, you called it, but you are sorely mistaken. My stepdaughter, Minato, was chosen to serve as a vessel for Izanami. I witnessed her ascension with my own eyes. Here we go. I'm going to say it now. Minato, please. I can't. I won't. There's no logic in it. No justice. The Witch of Doma spared, given a second chance, and my husband, condemned to die as a conscript. I'll never know what became of him. Lord Hien can't give me even that. And when I look at the families he made whole, at their happiness, I feel the hole in my heart, the gaping wound that will never heal, begin to bleed. Rutrose. Only at my beloved's side will I find peace. You mustn't lose faith, Minato. All will be well. Trust in the kami. In Izanami. I want to believe, but looks like a blasphemy to me. Izanami has come to bring peace to the souls of the departed, to restore balance between their world and ours. Surely you would not dare defy the will of the kami. This balance you speak of has claimed the lives of two innocents, but recently returned to us. I will not accept the kami would condone such cruelty. No crueler than at the sight of Yoshio, free and forgiven, while my husband and son fought Garma's wars, now dead and forgotten in a foreign land. With all due respect, Lord Hien, is it not your duty to protect Doma and her people? How are we to place our faith in the man who places the enemy's safety and well-being above that of his own subjects? This is getting spicy, man. Oh, dang. I was really hoping when I was playing through Stormblood, they would go ahead and touch upon all this, because I always thought it was strange that they went ahead and explored this part of it, going ahead and saving Yotu and doing all this stuff to go ahead and make her answer for what she did, and then it sort of got off track with it. So I'm glad they're going ahead and showing what this must have felt like to the people who weren't like having privileged knowledge of, like, oh, this is how it actually happened. People who just saw from the outside in. Only the kami are deserving of our adoration, as they always have been. Yeah, this is getting spicy, man. The villagers are no doubt loath to ask it of me, but preparations must be made for burials and funeral rites. I can offer that much, at least. You seem distracted during a conversation with Kisai. Is something the matter? I saw it. The echo and the blasphemy was indeed born of her stepdaughter. To bear witness to such horror, how her mind had to struggle to comprehend what she saw. And as a woman of faith, perhaps her only surviving family, becoming one with the divine, was the only reality she could come to terms. I believe I know what must be done, but I pray her favor does not drive her to oppose us. Come, let us return to the Enclave. From what you told me of your vision, the nature of Minato's spirit was as well was the focus of her ire is clear. 'Tis plain that she was good-natured and kind-hearted woman, grieving for the loss of her husband. This alone may not have been enough to turn her, but my failure to hold Yotiyo to account, together with the sight of other families reunited, compounded the turmoil in her broken heart. A path to despair paved by my good intentions, a truth that will weigh heavy on my conscience until my dying day. Minato was prepared to die in sadness rather than live in hatred. If she could see the beast that she has become, she would implore us to stop her. Which is why we must find a way. Which is why we must find the others who will return to us in the prisoner's days before they come to harm. Once their safety is assured, we may hunt down the blasphemy and bring a close to this tragedy. Okay, well, let's go ahead and start the next one. Home no longer. There is work to be done, yet Yugiri appears reluctant to take action. Ah, Static. If you are to come to ask after the blasphemy, I have not to share. As of yet, our shinobi have seen no sign of the beast. The returnees, however, are all accounted for, and Lord Hias has sent them safely to the Kienkan. As such, he is presently assisting with the hunt. For a blessing, there have been no reports of other villagers turning in yet. Before the situation takes a turn for the worst, I fear there's a matter that I fear warrants further investigation. Kise. Though a villager of Asari, I suspect she may in fact hail from my home, Sui no Sato. Knowing they would be loath to answer my inquiries, I entreated the Kojin to contact Sui no Sato in my stead. While contact with the outside world is kept to a minimum, they have ever maintained relationships with the Blue Tamazui. As mentioned of Kisei, however, their courtier warmth turns strangely cold. If we are to learn more, I fear we have little choice but to go and speak with the people of Sui no Sato ourselves. A simple visit for you, I imagine, but my banishment complicates matters. That said, it has been many years since I left home. Were I just to disguise myself, I think I might go unnoticed in your company, if you are willing to take the risk. Let's do it. Thank you. Let us make for Onokoro then. I'm back to Onokoro. Okay. The garments I wore when we first met, sufficient, I think, to conceal my identity. Sigh. Oh. How many years has it been since I last saw home? I am a shinobi of Doma. But even as a child, I sought to ensure the safety and survival of Sui no Sato. I was quite bold in those days, if not a touch reckless, and together with the other children, I often ventured beyond the borders of home. We yearned for adventure, and so one day we sought to behold the wonders of Doma. Imagine our horror to discover a city of ruin and ash, imperial soldiers marching through the streets. We fled at the sight, but in my haste, I lost my way in the bamboo groves. It was there I met a young boy named Shun, a sweaty mess as he swung his sword with reckless abandon. Training to fulfill his duty as a samurai, he said. Having seen the destruction of which the Empire was capable, I felt the need to protect my home. I joined him in his exercises, and every day my resolve to protect those I loved grew. Sadly, my elders refused to listen. They were content to remain hidden beneath the waves, and hopefully the Empire's notice. With a heavy heart, I left in search of strength I believed we sorely needed, and found it as a shinobi. But the people feared war and conflict would follow on my heels should I return. I do not begrudge their decision, nor do I regret mine own. Part of me is overjoyed at the thought of seeing home again, openly defying the wishes of the ruby princess, however. Would bode ill for my family. They have suffered enough for my transgressions. That is why, for their sake, I would remain naught but a faceless shinobi at your employ. Thank you. With that in mind, let us make for Sui no Sato. All these years, and yet not appears to have changed since the day I left. But now is not the time to reminisce. We have work to do. Kisei's departure from Sui no Sato was likely decades ago. Perhaps the village elders know why she chose to leave. Yugiri is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. So this is a new feature in Walker. Certain quest NPCs will go ahead and follow you. It's really a cool feature, honestly, and it it honestly just lets you get a little bit closer with the quest NPCs. Honestly, is she gonna? Yep. Okay. Cool. Amiable Elder. Let's see what this guy has to say. He say, the name sounds familiar, and yet. Apologies, friend. My memory is not what it once was. Let us seek out another. My, it has been quite some time since I heard that name. She was a priestess of the village, banished after drawing the ire at the former Ruby Princess. What has become after her after all these years, I wonder? Please, is there anything else you can tell us? Yugane was always quite close to her, if memory serves. Perhaps you could seek her out. Mother, I had hoped to avoid my parents, but if there is no other way, Static, might I ask you to take the lead? Oh no! This is gonna get like super awkward, isn't it? 'Tis good to see you, and to what do we owe the honor of your visit? Kisa, yes. We were close, but that was a long, long time ago. Still, if I can be of assistance to the man whom we owe so much, I will share all I know. Kise was born to a family of priests, and even at an early age she was possessed of extraordinary abilities. Much was expected of her, but everything changed the day she said she could speak with the dead. No one believed her at first, but she continued to assist as she could and strove to prove it by demonstrating knowledge well beyond her years, knowledge of events to which she could not have been privy. Words of her talent eventually reached the River Princess, and she was summoned to Shishui of the Violent Tides for a private audience. No one knows what Kisi said to her in the palace. Only the princess was incandescent with rage and ordered her exile forthwith. Some believe Kise revealed a terrible secret of the royal house, or perhaps she spoke a blatant falsehood that proved her a liar. Indeed, the knowledge she claimed to divine from the dead was not always truthful. But who is to say the dead would know the truth, or not seek to deceive? Thus, we can never be certain if it was truly a fantasy or a power divine. The one thing that is certain is that no small number of people found comfort in our words. Would that I could tell you more, but sadly I have not seen or spoken to Kisei since her banishment. Awkward. Forgive me, but have we met your this is awkward. Forgive me, but have we met your companion before? She looks familiar. Oh, okay. So we can play our part, or totally blow her cover. Huh. What do you think we should do, chat? Should we blow her cover? I want to go ahead and respect her wishes, but at the same time, I don't want her to like regret not having her speaking to her mother, you know. So that's my thing about it. You cannot possibly know me. I am but a lowly shinobi of Doma, nothing more. Being a shinobi, I presume you heard the tales of you getting this walker. Should you by chance meet her, may I ask you deliver may I ask you to deliver her a message. Tell her that her mother and father love her, that we could not be more proud of her. I will. I have no doubt that she feels the same, and not a day goes by without you and her thoughts. This is really cool, honestly. I believe we have heard enough. Shall we return to Onokiro? You're pissed at me. I can already tell. My apologies for placing you in so peculiar a situation. Though I must confess, it did my heart good to see mother and father well. All the more reason I must do all I can to keep the peace, as a shinobi of Doma, no, as a member of the Eastern Alliance. Mayhap there will come a day when Sui no Sato opens to the world, a day when Ikuri Mistwalker can be reunited with her mother and father. Would that Lord Hien could be afforded the same opportunity. By Lord Kian and Lady Mina have long since passed, two of many lives lost in the imperial occupation. I cannot imagine he would ever succumb to despair. But make no mistake, Lord Hien knows the pain of his people all too well. I can see it in his eyes, and if I may be honest, it troubles me at times. But perhaps I have said too much. Come, we must keep him waiting. Welcome back. I trust your journey proved an enlightening one. So she does, in fact, hail from Sui no Sato, and you say she has possessed these divine gifts since childhood. Genuine or no, the people believe her, and more flock to her side with every passing day. But the returnees are safe in can its defense is bolstered, As for the blasphemy, I have spoken with our Confederate allies, among others, and together we will establish a network of contacts across the length and breadth of Doma to take up the search in earnest. Mark my words, we will find it. Okay. I sort of wish we were getting more experience for doing these, though. Yuri appears armed and ready to leave the Enclave, which can only mean one thing. You've arrived at a moment too soon. The blasphemy has been sighted on the coast. For mercy, there are no reported casualties as of yet. Just the man I was hoping to see. No sooner had we cast our wide net than a Confederate messenger was at our door. If you would join us, Rasho awaits our arrival at Onakiro. Well now, that the noble lord of Doma should come in person once again, mayhap these blasphemies truly are a threat. Indeed they are, and I was told you and yours sighted our quarry quite recently. Ah, aye, that we did, near the islands of Shoal Rock. The beast appeared to be docile by all accounts, but appearances can be deceiving. It is as you say, and this blasphemy has only eyes for former conscripts. Then we have not to fear. I trust those accepted into our care are still in yours at Can, enjoying the finest Doman hospitality. Anyway, I know not why it came to the Ruby Sea, or why it remains idle, but if we act quickly, there's a chance we can take it unawares. I propose we divide our forces if you're willing to go ashore. We'll take a ship and circle around the islands. The first to find it will have the honor of the kill. Ha, a simple enough plan. Shall we be off to Shoal Rock then? Oh, it just flies off. Okay. Damn. Such speed, I doubt even my falcons could keep pace with it. Bah. Don't tell me that's the blasphemy flying off into the distance. I hoped the ill will that bore me in life might compel the beast to stay and fight. Perhaps less of Minato remains than I thought. Minato? That monstrosity was Minato? You knew her. Her family tried to flee Higashi during the occupation, but their ship was raided and sunk. When we happened upon the wreckage, she was huddled between her parents on a piece of flotsam, desperate to keep warm, but they had long since grown cold. We took her to Oniguro, where we nursed her back to health. Couldn't imagine what horror she must have witnessed. The mere sight of our weapons was enough to make her start screaming. She was clearly unfit for our trade, so we sought a village that might take her in. Asari was that village. Several months later, I chanced to meet her on this very beach. She was in the company of a young Ari fisherman. I knew at once she had found more than a home there. I saw them here many times after that. She found something comforting about this place, I think. According to reports from Rajat Hans, the memories and desires of those who turn can influence their behavior as blasphemies. That perhaps Benanto's memories are what compelled the beast to come here. That would also explain its timid nature. Benanto was never one for violence, and the sight of you, blade drawn, no doubt stirred what little of the wound remains in the monster. If that is the case, an assault on Kian is unlikely, guarded as it is by our samurai, but how are we to find enemies so quick to flee at the first sign of danger? Oh, robbed of her parents, her husband, and now her life. I would rather we didn't have to at all. But I understand full well the risk we take by doing nothing. If we catch sight of the blasphemy again, you will be the first to know. Perhaps next time we can put her soul to rest. There is naught to do now but bide our time. Come, let us return to the Enclave. Given what we have learned, it seems likely that the blasphemy will return to Shell Rock, but that knowledge will avail us not if we cannot prevent it from escaping again. Uh-oh. This ain't good. Lord Hien, on behalf of the people of Asari, we are come with a request. We welcome you with open arms and open hearts. What is it you would ask of me? Those who turn to us in the prisoner exchange have been granted shelter at Kian Khan. That they live is an affront to the communist grand design and spirits of our loved ones that suffer for it. Balance must needs be restored, and so I beseech you to render them unto the goddess Azanami. Absolutely not. 'Tis not our place to pray for the dead of others, nor draw steel to sate mere bloodlust. When I take a life, be it by command of my own hand, be it by command or my own hand, I do not do so in service to vengeance, but to uphold my duty to Doma and her people. How did your mercy for Yosuro serve your duty? How were your people made better but by the sight of her walking free? For her crimes and her cruelty, I cut her down the day we took Doma Castle. I sought to kill her, and by rights she should have died then and there. But the Kami willed otherwise, and returned her to us alive and bereft of her memories. with no recollection of her deeds. It would have been Tosoyo who faced punishment, not Yotsuyo. This was my judgment, and for it you were denied the justice you deserved. You have every right to resent me. But you have come before me and asked that I sacrifice men and women whose only crime was to suffer, to be content to a life of servitude. If you truly believe in your cause to be so sacrosanct, believe yourselves fit to bear the burden and swing the sword, then step forward. Sophistry and lies, they were meant to die. The spirits demand it. Are these the words of the dead, or the living who yet mourn? Oh, Gosetsu! He back! And he bald! Word of a sorry priestess and her gifts has spread far and wide, and I thought to see the truth of it myself by coincidence. I crossed paths with a traveler hailing from the self-same village, who had a mind to return as well, but alas, could not. And so she bid me deliver a missive in his stead. Judging by the striking resemblance, I take it you are the young fisher Akazitsu. This letter is from my father. He was severely wounded in battle, but expects to make a full recovery. He's alive, but that would mean... Surely a woman of your talents can divine a plausible explanation for this turn of events. Damn, people giving her the stink eye, dude. You should pay for this contumely. My daughter will make certain of that. Oh, little Tonbo, it'll be okay, buddy. I know I killed your brother, but it'll be okay, I promise. Good old Gosetsu. He looks great bald, honestly. Apologies for the abrupt and otherwise unannounced arrival. As you can see, my lord, I am returned. Full glad I am for it. Thanks to your timely arrival, we have given the lie to Kisai's claims of preternatural powers. I gather you are apprised of recent events. It did not take long to learn the state of affairs here in Doma, and that my assistance may be required. I had heard tales of Akise channeling the dead, including the father of one young fisherman. Imagine my surprise when I saw this spirit in the flesh. He was also on pilgrimage, paying respects to the departed, and we chanced to meet at a Liberation Front infirmary. Would that we were not brought back together under such circumstances, but I am glad to see you hale and hearty. I'm having a tough time with words today, honestly. Oh, little Tombo. What you doing, little Tombo? Tombo, is something the matter? I I wish to apologize, Lotian. It was wrong of me to say the things I said. I understand nothing can bring back my father, but I was so angry. Please, Tombo, you needn't apologize. It's just my brother was always so brave, but father's death was more than he could bear. It turned him into a monster. If he wasn't brave enough, what chance do I have? He wanted to perform the rites for father. His body was never, but the body was never returned to us. So, not that I blame you for that, Lotian. I understand nothing could be done. That Akazu's father survived nothing short of a miracle, but I fear he is indeed the rare exception. I've offered prayers at more graves than I can count. It would be cruel to give others the false hope that their loved ones might return. Kisei continues to do just that, offering comfort with her lies, a tempting but ephemeral balm for wounds that have yet to heal, much like the anger some harbor for you, or resentment for the families restored while theirs remain broken. But for those that, like that poor boy whose hearts lack for hatred, who know only sadness and despair, I, they too may turn, exposing the truth of Kisei's deception hasn't helped matters. If we are to prevent more suffering, we must pursue a lasting solution. I would be most grateful for your counsel, Gosetsu. There is much I could learn from your pilgrimage. If there is aught you require, but say the word and it shall be done. It is the least I can do for the part I played in I can't say words today. Yoshio's tragedy. I failed her in the end, but I will not fail you, my lord. I thank you again for your aid, Static. The day's events have given me much to consider. When our next step is decided, you will be the first to know. Yugiri's stern expression suggests she has no good news to share. Regrettably, there have been no sightings of the blasphemy since our first encounter at Shoal Rock. As Tansui surmised, it seems to fear confrontation. We, for our part, have tried to make good use of this intervening calm. Even now, Lord Hien and Goetsu discuss how we might prevent other villagers from turning. If you would wait here a moment, he would no doubt wish to hear your thoughts on the matter. Static. So glad you could come. As Yukiri no doubt explained, the blasphemy continues to elude us, and so we have turned our attention to other matters we can and should address. After long discussions and much deliberation, we believe we have found a means to allay the growing malaise malaise of our people, if you would, Goetsu? The idea came to us after considering young Tonbo's remarks about his father, whose body was never found and returned to Doma. Others no doubt share in his melancholy, unable to bury and mourn their loved ones, as is their right. To put simply, they cannot make peace with their loss. Their anguish, if left to linger, may consume them as well. That might provide the people of Doma with comfort and closure. We will hold a national funeral at the Swallow's Compass. Those who choose to attend will be asked to prevent personal effects of the deceased they wish to be enshrined there. Spirits reside in all things, be they living or inanimate, and though we may die, a part of us lives on in the items we cherished most in life. Therefore, in lieu of remains, these belongings will be afforded a place in the royal mausoleum, that the spirits of those lost to us may find a way home to Doma, and at last know peace. The announcement has already been made, and a great many people are now engaged in the difficult task of deciding which keepsake will serve as their offering. 'Tis not a decision to be made lightly, but I suspect they will have made up their minds by the time we go to collect those chosen tokens. I also hope to learn more about the departed from those willing to speak with me, for my benefit and for theirs. To break free of their sorrow, they must seek joy in the memories and love they shared with the departed, and I will help them find it. Might the liberator of Doma be willing to favor the people with his presence as well? I doubt not that they will appreciate the gesture. Good. Yugiri, I leave the people of Asari to you. Koetsu, I might ask you to... Apologies, my lord, but there is a small but most urgent matter I must attend to. Very well, I shall not pry. Now, Static, let us go and pay a visit to the good people of Namai. Let's go. Oh, I'm being silly. I bet a bunch of people just face palmed it like, oh, you can't do it, can you? Right then, before we begin, I would remind you that you only need listen to the tales of their loved ones. As overseer of the ceremony, I see it as my duty to deliver their effects personally. Because of this, it is the utmost importance that we keep clear of any beasts that might damage our cargo. It goes without saying how important it is that their offerings are delivered in pristine condition. I will be no good to you in a fight while heavily encumbered. If stealth or flight are not options, I may ask that you fight for us both. But we needn't worry unless the occasion arises. For now, let us be off. Yeah. My husband, my dear sweet Maroya, never returned from Garlemald, but perhaps now his soul might know peace. Please take this painting brush to the Swallow's Compass. I shall handle it with the utmost care. Might we trouble you to tell us more about your husband? Mayor Maroya was a kind and gentle soul. There was nothing he loved more in the world than to create. That brush never left his side, not even when he tended the fields. Any spare moment was dedicated to his craft. He produced the most wonderful vistas of Yangxia. It was his dream to take us to Kugane, where he could become a famous artist until he was conscripted. In the early days, it would seem he would send drawings of places they took him, though I know not how. But more time began to pass between each arrival, and then they stopped coming altogether. I know not what far-flung land he died, but I pray it was as beautiful as his works. He sounds like quite a man to hold fast to his art even when forced to endure such hardship. His soul will find peace. Of that I have no doubt. Man, this questline is gonna make me cry like a little baby, isn't it? Oh God. I must thank you again, Lord Hien, for this honor. My son would have been overjoyed to know that his katana would be enshrined at the Swallow's Compass. Nay, the honor is mine. I swear I'm sure your son was a fine warrior. Aye, and so was I once upon a time, a samurai as it happens, in service to your father, when the Empire first invaded our lands. Though we were defeated, our spirits broken, my son, Motosu, was never one to lose hope. He was determined to follow in my footsteps, gave his everything to honing his skill with the blade. When I watched him train, I felt the pride I thought I'd forsaken swell in my breast, and I knew he would restore our family to its former glory. Alas. He could have fled, perhaps started a new life, as a vagabond of some sort, but he bore the burden and fought for Garlemald, for fear of what the Imperials might do if he did not. 'Twas plain that he was a loving son and a true warrior. I would care for his blade as if it were my own, and see it given the honor and respect to a samurai of Doma. Yeah, I'm gonna cry like a little baby. At the end of this, I'm already well aware. Oh, little Tanbo. What you got for me, Tanbo? I realize it's quite large, but I wanted to offer this on behalf of my brother and our father, Suzashiro. If you are willing, I would very much like to hear about them both. My father, he was a carpenter. He was a good man, if a bit stubborn, always thinking about his work. The only time he ever seemed to enjoy himself was when he had a cup of sake in his hand. When my brother came of age, he took up the trade as well. It brought them closer. I'd see them laughing over drinks together, or listening in silence to the crickets singing under the moonlight. I wanted to join them one day. This was their favorite sake. I thought they might miss it. I am sure it will taste all the sweeter having come from you. I realize no one can ever replace your brother or father, but if you will allow, I would be honored to share drinks with you in your stead. When you are of age, of course. This should be everything. Will you join me for a short reprieve before our journey back? They put on brave faces, but the people of Namai are still racked with grief. It is the same in every village I have visited in recent days. But it is only now that I am struck by the contradictory nature of my goals. Having joined the Eastern Alliance and taken steps to revitalize the Enclave, I believe Doma was at last on the path to peace and prosperity. I still do, yet, focusing so keenly on the future, I have neglected that which haunts my people. Even if they do not give in to despair and become beasts that plague our lands like poor Tombo's brother, how are we to truly move forward if we are constantly looking back? Oh, oh crap. You speak of their haunted past, Lord Ian, but what of yours? Is there not someone for whom you yourself still grieve? Me? All things considered, I suppose it was only a matter of time before the subject was broached. Ha! He cuts to the heart of the matter, and the young lord for the best, I should think, for he cannot lead by example if he has not yet made peace with his own past. A thousand apologies, my lord. I was passing through, tending to the matters of which I spoke earlier, when I chanced to hear familiar voices in the distance. If I may be so bold, the people of Doma, one and all, understand the source of your pain. To lose your father in the turmoil of a failed rebellion, his staggering duty to the throne thrust upon you. How can you even begin to mourn when first you had to lead? It would behoove you to take part in the funeral rites, my lord. Take this time to make peace with your past while it is still yours to spend. Though unlikely, if not impossible, were you to become a monster as well, Doma would surely be lost. Thank you for your counsel, Gosetsu. But if I may ask, why is it you keep your blade at the ready? I thought this personal matter of yours to be not but a trifle, or am I mistaken? Well, I find the katana a superior tool for peeling persimmons. Speaking of which, I do believe my stomach begs for substance. If you will excuse me. Training to help slay the blasphemy, no doubt. Fitting that he should offer me counsel, yet refuse to heed it in kind. He is not the warrior he once was, but he is wise. Our obstinate friend. If I am to be perfectly honest, it frightens me to recall it, the moment it all came crashing down. We'd taken Doma Castle. Victory was ours. But then we looked out and saw the banners of the it's X I of the 12th Legion marching towards us. The Crown Prince at the fore. No sooner had Koetsu and I escaped then we received word that Xenos had slain my father. I remember how the fight went out of Goetsu in an instant, how he wept for his lord. While I felt the weight of the profound duty bear down upon my shoulders, crushing, suffocating. The heat of my own breath, the chill of my clammy palms. But duty demanded I master my emotions. When all those around me, Gosetsu included, were consumed by anger and a thirst for vengeance, I had to be in control. Under my orders, we dispersed and fled to fight another day. To this day, I've not stopped to reflect on my father's death. How could I, devoted as I am to finding Doma's way forward? But now I must, and so, having taken you in to my confidence, would you see this through with me to journey's end? The keepsake I would offer up for the funeral is hidden in a place not easily reached. We will have to fly there, I'm afraid. But worry not. My Yol will ferry us. Just a moment. The place we seek is Plum Spring in the mountains, shall we? I never noticed the Yol don't have pupils. Yeah, the old don't have pupils. That's super strange, at least to me. But it may not be to others though. My parents would bring me here for Hanami as a child. Its beauty and serenity was such that I could forget the realities of the occupation. Indeed, some of my fondest memories of family are here. It is precisely why I chose this place to conceal the singular gift my father bequeathed to me as a child. Oh, it's a thing. It's a doll of the Monkey King. Charming, is it not? The great Auspice Khitan Dashang, said to reside somewhere along the Dairu chain. In those days, anyone and everyone knew the tales of his prowess. Reckless boy that I was, I even tried to seek him out, hoping he might help us. I buried it shortly after my coming of age ceremony. It seemed a fitting place to both part with my childhood and offer a final goodbye to my mother. More a keepsake of mine than his, to be sure, but he was never a man of worldly possessions. Still, I suspect he would allow himself a rare smile if he were to see it again after all these years. And that's precisely why I wish to bid him farewell with a smile. It should go without saying that I prefer it not known that I kept the stall here. Won't the children grow jealous now? Wouldn't want the children to grow jealous now, would we? And with that, I believe it is time we return to the Enclave. There are yet more villages to visit and offerings to collect, but preparations are proceeding apace. Soon the people will have one less cause to be tempted down the path of despair. Of course, there still remains the problem of the blasphemy. The former conscripts will remain at Kain Kan until it has been dealt with. We will slay the beast in due time, but before that, I would be honored if you were present for the funeral rites. Pray speak with Yugiri next time you visit the Enclave, and she will tell you more of the proceedings. Okay, so I think we're gonna take a small break. And then come back and get level 90 and then go ahead and finish this out. So I'll go ahead and wish everyone a good break.